this is a rather interesting time in Congress. We've had a lot of bills that have come through in the last several months here that have had an impact on our agricultural community, and had one yesterday, matter of fact. And you made the statement that you believe that specialty crops' future is quite bright. So I would like for you to address are familiar with the food safety bill that was defeated yesterday and probably come back up again today or tomorrow, with regards to the impact of the FDA overseeing the safety and soundness of some of our food processing and food chains versus the USDA.
I haven't studied the latest version of the legislation. I do know that Secretary Vilsack has been working very closely with Secretary Sebelius at the request of the President to have this food safety working group where principles are laid out in terms of where we feel we need to go and make our food system stronger. USDA has actually some fine authorities under the Food Safety Inspection Service. We have recall authority. We have inspectors in all our plants. I think we are trying to do more on the import side of the equation, but we have strong authorities, but there's still ways to improve. We still have too many people who get sick from salmonella. We still have deaths that have to come from E. coli. We have listeriosis. So we are trying to improve our systems so that no parent needs to worry about the food that they feed their children, and no senior, also another vulnerable population, has to worry about the food they eat. Part of it's education, too. USDA has tools at their, here's an example. Do you know what the wattage is on your microwave oven? I have no idea what the wattage is in my microwave oven.
I can't
So
use mine, so
Well, you can't
I
use
wouldn't know what the wattage would be.
Well,
I just punch a go on it. It says start.
I won't go there, but there are a lot of foods in the marketplace now where you purchase it and you heat it up in your microwave oven. Well, what I found out is that microwave ovens have all different wattages. And if you read the very fine print, which I have never done on frozen food, it will tell you, based on the wattage, how long that you have to heat it up for. And that's only the best packaging. So the frozen food industry, for example, comes to my office and says, well, we have a lot of healthy food that, with the convenience lifestyles, people are going more to a microwave environment, but we're really concerned about getting the message out, educating people about wattage. And also maybe we can work with the companies who produce microwave ovens to have more standardization. So these issues, sir, are very complex, and we have a whole slew of work to do in the next 4 years.
Well, the reason for the question, obviously, is a concern. Food safety is at the heart of it. But initially, the food safety bill had a lot of livestock and grain producers in it, and they were eventually taken out. And there's, I think it's probably targeted toward the specialty crop folks. So as a result, I have, quite frankly, much more strength and belief and support for what USDA does and what the FDA does, and so I would prefer that you be the oversight organization and rather than FDA with regards to food and at least getting it to the marketplace at that point, and if the FDA wants to take over. But I think that the experience that you have in that field is much more important and much more broad, and therefore I think that it's imperative that you don't relinquish that oversight. So that would be my concern. There's some permits and things in there as well, permit fees anyway, for things like farmers markets. I was wondering if you had an opinion on how that's going to affect especially crop folks.
I'll have to look at that, sir. I'm not familiar with those permit fees, so I will respond in writing by tomorrow on that.
One other question. I know that the cap and trade bill has gone through the House. It's sitting in the Senate. Just curious as to what your view would be on the effect on specialty crop folks.
We feel very strongly that there is a role for agriculture in all these various bills, that we really see that agriculture is a contributor to climate change, but it's also a great contributor to climate mitigation. And so we're very involved in trying to figure out the offset side. get the metrics, the methodology straight on figuring out how to, for example, figure out how much carbon is sequestered on agricultural lands and how to articulate that and make sure that's a part of whatever package goes through.
How long do you think that'll take?
Well, it's complicated, but we have to do it. I mean, we have to do it, and we may not get it perfect on the first iteration. I think that
The reason I
that's
asked the question, I sit on the Ag Committee, and I've asked this question of Ag folks for the last 4 months. At this point, we still don't have an answer.
I hear you, sir. I think it's also one of the challenges is we have to make sure that USDA doesn't have their own metrics, and Interior has their own metrics, and EPA has their own metrics. So not only are we working within USDA, but we're trying to work with other departments of government to come to a common understanding of how we're going to move forward on this.
Just
But
one more
we're
quick-
racing against the clock. We understand that.
Very good. One more quick question for you. I know that being a former director of tourism that in the state of Missouri, agritourism was an important part of that. And in fact, we'll have a gentleman here this morning from the Missouri Wine and Grape Board. And what efforts is USDA putting forth to promote agritourism here in the United States?
We're not doing enough. I had the very tough hardship assignment last summer of being in Italy. I was working for the Food Agricultural Organization of the UN. Italy is the foremost country in the world for agritourism. They have it down to a brilliant science. I mean, it's really remarkable how wonderful that system is. And I hope that we do find more ways to promote agritourism. I think your point's well taken. What we do message to small and moderate-sized farms is that one of your best risk management strategies is to have a diverse operation, diverse in terms of crops, but also activities. And agritourism can be a part of that, and that can be part of your safety net. But I take your point. I think we need to do more.
Well, I know that there's an initiative to try and, we're one of the few countries, if not the only country in the world, does not have an agency or division that promotes tourism in their country. And there is an effort to do that, to establish that, to put some funds aside. Could we ask for your support in something like that to be able to put forward and promote it to the Congress to see once we can get something done along that line?
I'm happy to talk and work with you on that. I think agritourism is very important. The specifics I have to see. I can't commit the administration in an area I don't really know very well, but I think you're absolutely right that it has great opportunity for farmers. And for where I'm from in western Massachusetts, you may not think that's a big ag state, but we actually have a pretty healthy agricultural enterprise in my part of the world. And agritourism out there has proved quite successful. And it's a real income generator for farmers. And it takes work, and there are issues around liability and traffic in communities. I mean, it's not just, add it onto your farm without thinking about it. It is tough, and we need to help guide farmers. I agree.
Well, we'll look forward to working with you on that issue. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.